Welcome to Chapter 3, PowerPoint. The first thing we're going to do is open up PowerPoint. However you open it up, I have mine on my taskbar right there, and I will open up PowerPoint. Then, if you notice on page 149 of PowerPoint Chapter 3, number 6, it says to navigate to a file's location. So, you want to slide to open other presentations, and then navigate to wherever you have your student files for this chapter. For me, I'm going to have to hit Browse, and my drive, and hopefully yours isn't as buried as mine is. And you want to open up the presentation motorcycle from the data files for students. So double click on the motorcycle to open it up. Now the very first thing that you want to do is to save this. So we're going to choose File, Save As, and then navigate to where you turn in or save the work for this class. And give me a second and I will do the same. Alright, according to the book it says to save it as Watch for Motorcycle. So as always, you're going to do last name, first initial, underscore, motorcycle, watch for motorcycle. So I'm just going to click in front of this, watch for, and motorcycles. And then we're going to click on Save. Okay, so notice that we have this. This is a sound bite here. So if you hit play, it should play, and there's your motorcycle. Awesome. Alrighty. So on page 149, towards the bottom, we are going to insert photos and add effects. So with slide 1, which is what we're on right now, you can tell because of the thumbnail here, and that we are on a slide 1. It says click on the insert and go to pictures and your images bank there. Click on pictures, and then you want to navigate to your drive where you keep all of your files for this class. Then number 3 says you want to select highway motorcycle. So go to highway, and notice these are in alphabetical order. And there is our motorcycle. And you want to resize this so that it takes up the entire page. So if you grab a corner handle, it rises in perspective. Now to take up the entire page, that doesn't really matter. So it is going to skew it some so that it's not going to be exactly in the correct perspective, but that's okay because we are following directions for the book. And it seems like my computer is moving very slow today. Sometimes that is just what happens. And notice that as we make it larger, that it is covering up the text that is already on there. That is okay because in a minute we're going to move it back a layer. There we go. Okay, so it did change the perspective some, which I generally say don't do that, but we are following the book, so it's good. And you notice these little square things. These are the sizing handles, so those you can grab to resize, make it bigger or smaller. Alright, so turning the page on page 151, number 1, we're going to make sure that our highway motorcycle is still selected. You know it's selected because you have the sizing handles. If, like I just clicked off, you can tell right now no sizing handles, so it is not selected, and also you don't have the bar for formatting that picture. So if you click on it, notice that your sizing handles come back and that your toolbar for formatting pictures shows up again. So make sure that you have that. And you want to click the color button in the picture tools format. So you come over to the left and notice that color is right here. So we're going to click on that. And then on page 151 it says to choose a sepia, which is the third photo in the first recolor row. So come down to and then slide over to sepia. Alright, and you can see the box that pops up and says, hey, I'm sepia. We click on this and it adds a little brown tint to that. On page 152 it says to go to slide 3. Now, I believe in save and save often. So every time I do something like that, we just insert a photo and change the way it looked and made it larger. So I'm going to save that. It's always good to save. Control S is also a very quick, fast way to save something. So next it says to go to slide 3. To select the photo, so we're just going to click in it. You know it's selected because the sizing handles are there. And then we're going to the artistic effects. So once again, up to the left, artistic effects. And we're going to use the paintbrush to apply that artistic effect to it. So let us see where paintbrush is. Okay, so paintbrush is in the second row, third column. When you click on that, it'll apply that effect and see how it changed the way our picture looks. Now, we're going to jump back to slide 1. So click up here on your thumbnail. Go to slide 1. Now remember I told you that we're going to change the way it's stacked because there's text underneath that. So click on your photo so that the computer knows what you want to move, and we're going to send it backwards. So since the photo is selected, we have our picture tools format button open, and we're going to send backward. Now you can choose two different things. So we're going to click on the down arrow. Send backward moves it down one level, and send to back moves it all the way back so it's underneath everything. So in this case we want it in behind everything, so we click on send to back, and see now we have your motorcycles in front, your text in front, and you also have your sound in front. Alright, so let's hit save real quick, turn the page, and on page 154 we make sure that we're still on slide 1. And now we're going to click in the border of the watch for motorcycles. So the easiest thing to do is to click in it once and then click on the border. Notice as you come to the border, you get the 4 arrows. And when you've selected the whole thing, you have the sizing handles. Notice that when I click inside, it's blinking. And when I click outside on the border, you don't have the blinking in the words anymore, but you have the 4 sizing handles on that object. And it wants you to enlarge that placeholder. So we're going to go ahead and it says point to the top middle sizing handle. So we're going to grab that top middle sizing handle and enlarge the placeholder. So we're just going to grab it and drag it up to about here, and it doesn't give you any specific size. Make sure that the home tab is open, and then it wants you to click in the text paragraph. So that is this one here, watch the motorcycles, and we want to click on center now. So you come up here to center in the paragraph bank just like it has in Word. Click on center and notice that the text is now centered. Alright, now on page 155 it has us move the placeholder over to the right. So notice that if I slide over, see how I get the 4 arrows, and we're going to click on that and hold it, and we're going to move this placeholder to the upper right hand corner of this slide. And notice that I have the the hash marks, see the red hash marks in the top or right hand corner. So, and we also, and notice that, ooh, and even more, we're going to move it more than that because we need to make sure that the word for is to the right of the motorcyclist helmet. So what I am going to have to do, and you might also have to, is I am going to make this, wow. Do you ever have days when your computer does crazy things? We're going to do it a slow way. My computer seems to be doing things today. Wow. Okay, really strange things. Okay, see, my philosophy always is, it is what it is, and just go with it. Okay, so we want to move it so that the F in 4 is in about this position. Notice that the words are still on the page. Notice that I had to zoom out to make it small enough so that I could see what it was doing, and also so that my cursor, my box would allow me to go outside of the slide. Remember, the things outside of the slide won't show in when you're doing a view show. Okay, so it's all good. Everything looks beautiful and we can see. So now we're going to delete the subtitle placeholder. So look on page 156, and it wants us to select the subtitle placeholder. Now, on an actual show, it's not going to show anyhow, but it's kind of annoying when you're working with it. So we like to get rid of those. Notice that I clicked once and it selected, see how it selected my picture? And that's not what I want, correct? So I'm going to try it again. I've got my 4 arrows and I'm going to try clicking again. And sometimes you have to click inside. Let's try that. And now click on it. There you go. Sometimes you just have to click around. So for me, I had to click inside, click inside of the subtitle placeholder and get the blinking mark like you were going to type, and then I clicked on the dotted border around it again, and this time it selected just the placeholder. Okay, so there's a couple of things that you can do. In the book it tells you to hit cut, so that's what we're going to do. In real life, for me, I would just hit the delete button on my keyboard, but you do whatever works best for you. And except for Sam, if you're in Sam, you do exactly what Sam tells you to do. As long as it's gone, for me, I'm good. All right. Now on page 157, let's go ahead and save. Save and save often. We're going to go to the slide sorter view. So if you look down on your status bar, and this button right here is your slide sorter view. Click on that, and it shows us all of our slides. Now the coolest thing about slide sorter view is if you have a ton of slides, then it's really easy to move them around or to delete or go to. I love using slide sorter view. Now, and I'm not even going to lie, I have never used the reading view button, which they talk about on page 158. But that is what we're going to do right now. So, number 2 on page 158 says, tap or click the reading view button in the lower right of the PowerPoint window to display slide 1. So, the reading view button, awesome, is right there. So it's going to be your third icon in your status bar. Click on there. Yay. Okay, so we have our PowerPoint slide, and it says click the next button 2 times. So if you look down here, this third button is the next button. So click on it twice, once and twice. Okay, and it navigates through your slides. Now hit the previous button 2 times. So previous, go once and twice. Oh, alright, it's like a back button. Now click on the menu button, and when you click on the menu button, it shows a lot of things. This is great to do different things. And notice you have choices. Next, go to a specific slide, which is great when you have a large PowerPoint and you need to go to something specific. You can zoom in, print, preview, copy, edit, full screen, and end show. So you have several different choices there. And in this case, we're going to choose end show. Then it tells us to go back to normal view. So that is our first icon. We're going to click on there. All right, now on page 159 it says to display slide 2. So we're going to come over here to number 2 and click on that. And then it says change the zoom level to 200%. Now, since my computer's being so strange today, I actually am going to click on this number right here and then click on the 200% and say OK. Now, the reason why we did that is if you're going to work on something specific, it's always good to zoom in, and you can zoom in more than 200% if you need to. That's just what they recommend. So we're going to click on the card clip to select it. Then you want to click on the group button under the Picture Tools Format tab. So notice that mine didn't jump. Sometimes it doesn't. That's okay. So if yours doesn't go to the Picture Tools format, all you got to do is click on it. It does become available regardless. And then click on Group. Now when you click on Group, you have only one choice, so we need to ungroup this. Now this says it is an imported picture, not a group. Do you want to convert? And you're going to say yes, because I want to change this picture. Now you'll have to ungroup this several times because there's lots of pieces to it. So notice mine jumped off of it again, so that's okay. Click on Group and Ungroup. And you want to keep doing it till you get your dots like that. Now also, it doesn't hurt to double check one time. Notice that I have no more opportunity to just ungroup. So you'll keep clicking on Ungroup until Ungroup is grayed out. Now usually it only takes a couple of clicks, but you know, what can go wrong will go wrong, and some random stuff. So after we have ungrouped completely and totally, we want to click outside of that so we deselect that picture. Okay, so now it's not all selected, but look, let me show you. If you click on a piece, it's going to pick up pieces of the picture. Alright, so wherever I click, it's going to pick that piece, and we can delete, we can color, we can move whatever we want. In this case, it wants us to click on, I'm on page 161, number 1 at the bottom. We're going to click on the car's left front tire. So left front tire, and I guess that depends on whether you're the driver or looking at it. In this case, they want this one. So we're going to click on that left front tire, and notice that for me, do you see what I selected? It ended up selecting just the rim. So let's click out just a little bit, and now we have that full tire, and it wants us to change that color to black. So if you look on page 162, number 2, change it to black text 1. That is our fill that we're going to change. So click on the down arrow for the shape fill on black text 1. So we click there as the second color chip in that first row. So we will select that, and notice that our tire is now black. Isn't that awesome? So we want to do the same thing for the back tire. So click on the tire and click on shape fill and the black chip. And we also want to do that to this inside section of this front tire here, the right front tire, as we look at it, and choose that. Now we could have also used the paintbrush and would have only had to choose the color chip one time. Now something else that's cool, let me undo so I can show you really quick. Notice that it has that black chip right there. So until we change it, we could technically, instead of having to keep clicking and changing like that, we could just click on the bucket, and it's going to fill with it whatever was the last color used. So that's a little time saver there for you. So now it wants us to delete the pink color here. So we're going to click on the pink background, and the way the book tells us to do is to hit the cut button on the home tab. So we come home and click on cut. Alright. Then number 3 on page 164 tells us to delete the purple. So click on that, and you can hit the delete key on your keyboard. That works also, whatever makes you happy. Then it tells us to delete the mauve highway. That would be this. Mauve is a strange color for highway. And however you want to delete, but you want to delete that highway. Then it says to click on one highway stripe and hold your shift key down and then click on the other. So holding the shift key down lets you select multiple things that are not connected. And it also wants us to get rid of those, so either the cut or the delete. So all you should have left now is our car with our black tires. Alright. So now I need to regroup all of these. So we're going to save this because we've done a lot. Control S, or click on the Save button in your toolbar. And we're going to regroup. So if you click on, so notice how I didn't click on a specific piece of the picture. I slid slightly out to the right and I selected, and I get the whole thing. That's just a little trick that it doesn't really tell you. But by doing that, now you can come to the Format Drawing Tools and click on the Group button, and you can choose Regroup. Okay, now if I had just clicked on a piece of the car, like just that piece, and I'm sure somebody's fixing to ask, can we still regroup? And the answer is yes. Alright, now it is always good to double check, and notice how when I click in here like that, now I have two pieces right there, and that's why I like to go ahead and click on the outside a little bit, and all we have left is ungroup. So we're good. We are golden. Excellent. Now, you can still, since we've ungrouped and regrouped and all of that, you can still change specific pieces of the car. But the cool thing about regrouping it like we did is that you can now grab the picture and resize and move the whole thing as a group instead of just individual pieces. So it tells us to change our zoom slider to 74%. So I'm going to actually click on my number here, and I am going to type in 74% because my computer is being so strange today. So that zooms out so that I can see the entire slide. And we are going to move the car down and to the right of intersections. Now, also we need to make the car larger. So if you notice that in the picture, it looks like the car is about here, but so much bigger, right? So I'm going to grab my top left hand sizing handle, because that anytime you do a corner, it's more likely to keep it in perspective. So I can hold down my left mouse button and see, see it is not. So let me tell you a trick. If you hold your shift key down as well as your button, it keeps it in perspective so that it doesn't look warped. So that is a freebie. So your pictures all look beautiful, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to grab it and move it down, something like that. Okay? So I'm not going to be, I will not be measuring and make sure that his hand is exactly the same distance as the book, but make it look as close to the book as you can. Alright? Now, on page 166, we want to copy this from one slide to another slide. So we'll have it here, and we're going to also put it on slide 1. Now, there are several different ways to do this. I'm going to show you the way the book says for now. And no, there's lots of other ways. Okay, make sure that the whole thing is selected. Okay, then we are going to go Home tab and click on Copy. I know, so much fun. Control C is my favorite, but I use keyboards a lot, so whatever works for you. Then click on slide 1. There we go. See how slow my thing's moving. And you can hit paste. Now, technically what has happened is put the picture onto the clipboard, and then we've pasted it onto onto the first slide. Now, notice also that I'm having all kinds of strangeness today. So when things go wrong, we just, it's all good. Let's come back. And we're going to click on our picture. Alright. And now I'm going to copy it. Come back. So I think the main thing, I'm almost not really glad my computer's being weird today, but I want to see that also, that sometimes things are just crazy, and don't stress out. No sense stressing out. It's not going to do you any good, except for make you stressed, and that's never fun. Alright, so I'm going to move this to about here-ish. Okay? It also says to go ahead and increase it and make it bigger. So once again, I'm going to grab the handle. I'm going to hold down my shift key and my mouse, and I'm going to make it bigger, and that we've kept in perspective. The book does not say how big to make it, so just do something like that. And how cute. Can you imagine a toy car passing you on the highway? So much fun. Alright, we're on page 167, and according to the book, it's a great time for a break, and I'll see you back in just a bit. Make sure you save.